The bandwagon is a rather interesting term. If we want to take it in a literal sense, it means a wagon used for carrying a band in a parade or procession, but it's more commonly now known as an activity or cause that has suddenly become fashionable or popular. Now, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. While I was brought up on Halo, it was the original Mass Effect trilogy that first showed me how powerful of an art form video games can be, because despite whatever your mum says, video games aren't actually art. It felt like the fate of the galaxy was truly resting on your shoulders, and I loved every second playing as Commander Shepard, blue, red and green ending and all. So imagine my excitement at the announcement of a brand new Mass Effect video game, one that would not only take the series in a new direction, but also returns to the basic fundamentals of the first. It felt like it was trying to recapture that sense of atmospheric wonder that made so many people fall in love with the series in the first place. The trailers promised a glorious experience of awe and wonder, but then we got this.
The reason we can't be civilized.
And I was looking forward to Andromeda more than I've looked forward to any game in a long time. Admittedly, this was more to do with the fact it had the now prestigious Mass Effect name attached to it, more so than any trailers or gameplay footage winning me over. But is Mass Effect the train wreck the internet has been classifying it as? Is it deserving of the 4.8 user score on Metacritic? Well, no, but this isn't me giving the game a pass, oh no. In this video, I want to make sense of how a studio that has consistently made great games botched up this badly, how Andromeda, having 5 years in development and a $40 million budget, compared to Horizon and Witcher 3, which had much smaller budgets, turned out to be this, not quite a pile of crap, but a pile of generic adequacy. So let's begin with what happened behind the scenes. Supposedly, early development for this game began all the way back in 2012, just after the release of Mass Effect 3, with a sequel being commissioned after the third game's strong initial sales and critical reception. But despite this game being made by BioWare, it's not the exact same crew that worked on the original trilogy, despite the popular opinion believing they did. In contrast to the first 3 games, which was developed by the Edmonton of BioWare, Andromeda was handled by a new team working out of Montreal. This was done in order to let the Edmonton team start working on a brand new intellectual property. Now, Montreal hadn't really had their video game metal tested, and with the team often working on additional content to establish games, with many of the notable individuals who worked on the original trilogy not being present for Andromeda's development, the most noticeable absence being Casey Hudson, who's the director of all 3 games of the original trilogy, who departed BioWare in August 2014, with Mac Walters, writer of 2 and 3, being promoted to the director role for the 4th entry in the franchise. But there's even more horror stories behind the scenes, with a VFX BioWare Montreal employee even saying, BioWare Edmonton and Montreal symbiosis is broken, lots of conflict and bro culture, which was meant to be a plague on production of the game. And while what this guy says should admittedly be taken with a pinch of salt, but if this is true, it's pretty horrendous, with supposedly the game having lost over 13 leads, such as game design, art, audio, senior core leads, etc. While also behind the scenes, there's stories of individuals being put on performance improvement programs, which supposedly is a new tactic to get rid of people, or to quote this guy, purge the mess from the lack of vision caused by upper management. Many benefits got cut due to too much time extension to get the game done, and human resources were apparently about as inefficient as they can be. And with the fact that EA is renowned for having strict deadlines and throwing a game onto the market before it's even finished, without adequate time to ensure that it's polished and the best it can be, is just another possible factor for this game's messy state. Now onto the elephant in the room, which of course is the graphics of the game, when really they're quite a mixed bag. Some of the landscapes in Andromeda look objectively gorgeous, but of course the facial animations, not so much. Jonathan Cooper is currently an animator on the Uncharted series, and he talked about this issue, saying, animating an RPG is a really big undertaking, completely different from a game like Uncharted, so comparisons are unfair. RPGs offer a magnitude more volume of content and importantly, player/story choice. It's simply a quantity versus quality trade-off. Given the sheer number of dialogue options and conversations, dialogues are separated into tiered quality levels based on importance/likelihood. This means that scenes with the lowest quality are handled by algorithms and not by hand. Now, I don't quite buy this personally, as some of the game's most crucial moments are just ridiculously horrific in the graphics department, but it's still something to keep in mind. People seem to be praising The Witcher 3 even more now, but remember, that's still got its fair share of bugs and glitches. None to the extent that Andromeda has, but RPGs generally have more of these technical issues due to the sheer scale they're working on. Admittedly, this is me ignoring the tale of BioWare hiring sexists as animators with no prior experience. While this game was being promoted, BioWare were consistently bragging about the fact you could have detailed conversations with 1,200 characters, and there was more dialogue in this game than Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 combined. That's great, but this is a matter of quantity versus quality, and this is the main crux of where Andromeda went wrong. So many bland NPCs are given vague and generic dialogue that you never feel like they have that much personality, while even the squad mates don't even have that much more depth. The dialogue just feels like it's trying to get you from A to B without much care about your emotional response to it. This applies to the side quests with the gameplay. Most of these are just glorified fetch quests and never have that much level of interest for me. People get more frustrated now when you have to watch these boring animations every time you arrive on a new planet than the elevator rides in previous games, because with the elevator rides, you knew you were actually going to do something important and emotional. I honestly think that people would have been far more satisfied with a shorter and smaller game, but one with intimacy and one with the same level of craft and care into characters and story as the original trilogy did. Now, one of the main things that keeps coming up about Andromeda is once people have listed all their negative issues with the game, such as the dull, contrived plot with boring characters, they'll respond with, but the gameplay's good. And sure, this is a refined, more interesting combat experience, albeit with less of a focus on the squad commands than the previous games were made of. But let's be honest, did any of us really become fans of Mass Effect for the combat? I can take off my rose-tinted glass and say that the original trilogy's combat was solid, but nothing groundbreaking. And if you had told me a year ago that the element of the game that most people would be praising was the combat, I'd have been severely confused and very disappointed. There's many examples of why Andromeda fails to capture the magic of the first 3 games. The microcosm of this is the music. Despite the first game having hands down the best soundtrack of the trilogy, each game's beautiful score may be listened to every track multiple times. Andromeda doesn't have that. Its soundtrack provides a mere background, as if no thought went into it. I can't remember any time in the game when the music truly moved me, and even now I'm playing the original Mass Effect soundtrack as backing music since Andromeda doesn't have a hint of interest in theirs. However, despite my grumbling, BioWare should be applauded for often responding to fan criticism and then applying it to their game, as they did with the extended cut ending in Mass Effect 3, with BioWare General Manager Aaron Flynn claiming that over the next 2 months he wants to include more options of variety in the character creator, improvements to hair and general appearance for the characters, ongoing improvements to cinematic scenes and animations, and various other points. And already I have to add that the update has made their eyes look slightly more human. So to bring us full circle, am I hopping on the bandwagon for hatred of this game? No, I actually think this game is pretty functional, but Mass Effect has never been about being functional. Mass Effect has always been about taking the player on a narrative journey. The animation should have been polished up, yes, but Mass Effect was never acclaimed for its graphics. It was acclaimed for its story, dialogue, and interesting characters, and when you lack that in Andromeda, this game is Mass Effect in name only. Maybe this is a new direction for Mass Effect for a new generation, one that gamers, like myself, aren't meant to be a part of. Well, thanks for watching everyone. I generally do film-based videos, hence the name, but this is something that I wanted to address. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, comment, or share it around. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.